Hey guys, welcome to this video. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome and welcome back. If you have seen these videos, I just wanted to roll right into some flow. Whenever I go into flow, I just sit in kind of a meditative space. I connect with my higher inner guidance team, whatever we want to label that as. And I just allow messages to come through that may be helpful for the collective right now. And perhaps sometimes it's wordplay. I will probably have some light language that comes through to kind of shift the frequency and the vibration. And then I'll share some English. I'm giving this whole kind of introduction because I've actually had a few people tell me, yeah, I started to watch your video and I didn't understand what you were saying, so I just changed it. And I went, well, if you listen a little bit longer, there's usually some sort of message that's in there that's associated with higher vibration or just a fun word play. And I've been told that some of the things that I write and speak are in some type of a cryptography. And that may be something I explore down the road. I don't understand. So it's funny to me because it's mathematical. A lot of the words, how I play with the words, it's been shared to me through my higher guidance team that I'm speaking in math code. And this math code can have a variation of meanings. And so I might go into that maybe in the next video or two. But for today, let's just roll right into it. It's the full moon today. Most likely there'll be a mashup coming in of all kinds of different frequencies. So we'll just kind of play from there. And as we acclimate to these higher frequencies that are all around us currently, that are moving through the currents at such a high induction rate, it introduces to us new chemical components that we have the ability to play with in this new living structure, in our new abode, if you will. Lots of this is play on words today. I can kind of feel it coming. So I'm seeing the body as our abode, our temple, our house, and also our earth in reference to where we are in this home planet of our galaxy. As we allow ourselves to tune into these frequencies, as we allow ourselves to make the appropriate adjustments, I'm being guided to break that down. If I were to write that out, it would be appropriate. What kind of foods are we eating? What are we digesting into our body? What are we doing it proportionally? So I'm seeing, are we doing too much of this, not enough of this? Are we eating too much of this, not enough of this? Are we reading too much of this, not enough of this? It's a balance. But this allows us to differentiate between the hyperconductivity and the lower frequencies that are combining together, that are mixed a lot, if you will. I'm hearing, we care a lot. I think that's a song, like an 80s song. So I'm seeing that as a reference to I was just sharing this in conversation with somebody earlier. Everything's here. What I'm being shown is like, it's here. It's knocking at our door. In the past, we've had these waves, we ride the waves, but now we're in it. And so what I keep getting shown over and over again is that we've got upgrades, we've got activations, we've got memories that are coming up, we've got shadow that's coming up, that was a burp. We've got all these energies kind of mixing in this soup, if you will. And what happens is as these energies mix together, they combine. And if we're not taking care of our body, what's happening, not just our body, our mind, our spirit, our soul, feeding our soul, it creates all of these imbalances, and it's difficult to differentiate why we're feeling what we're feeling. Or on another end of the spectrum, we can sometimes be feeling what we're feeling and not need to figure out why. So different times, right, are, it's important to have different responses, and we can't respond appropriately if we aren't using our inner guidance tools that are available and here at our disposal. I'm just in flow. And what this does is this creates our ability to then dispose of the particular stories, habit patterns, food habits that are no longer activating our higher potential. They're no longer necessary for a fuller activation. They're no longer necessary to support our activities. They're no longer a frequency that we necessarily need to attribute to our reality or to our growth. And that's all a play on words. Give tribute to, right? Add tribute to, add value to spend time on. For as these realities merge and converge, as we move through these different scales of harmonics, if you will, different checks and balances, as we check in to make sure we are balanced, as we check in and recognize what is out of balance, we find ourselves leaning toward that which is more conducive for our higher great ability. So all plays on words. It gives us a chance to be more objectable on what we are projecting, what is being projected towards us. And we are then able to deconstruct from a more rhythmic approach rather than moving into self-destruct. When we go into this new space of alchemy, we allow all of these old chemistry sets to reset. We allow that which it is we have been playing with, I'm hearing making bets on. So this leads back to our value system. It leads back to us making these bets that we couldn't follow through on, that we were, I'm hearing, I'm a loser, baby. So it's back, bets, all bets off. So funny. Yes, Spirit has a sense of humor. As we tune into this different reasoning, this different way of this different wave of completion sets around us, allows us to set sail, if you will, allows us to sail into a new course, a new direction, a new chorus, a new chord, a new componentially expansive expandability of resource analytics. Here we go. Guys, I've been in this type of flow for like 3 days now. Again, cryptography and all these words. So I'm just rolling with it. Some of this will really make sense and some of it won't make any sense, and all of it has codes and layers, and it's just fun to play with. And what is it that we find is senseless, or what is it that we consider sensibility? For that which has seemed sensible in the past no longer adds up to our new value system. That which we once bought into, that which we once held near and dear to our hearts, so to speak, are now turning to everything, turn, turn, turn. Okay, so I'm seeing like the times are changing. It's time for a new cycle. So we may have really, really felt fond of a particular person, a particular place, a particular belief, a particular structure. That structure can be in politics, social, economic, religious, friendship groups, so on and so forth, particular people on the internet, so on and so forth. So we may have bought into these at one time and found them valuable, but now we are finding that they are devaluing our higher value, our ability to feel a deeper resonance is no longer valued on the same system, that no longer holds value for that which we are systematically moving away from. We move out of automatic response. We move out of this automotive, if you will, automotive. Okay, this is all play on words. I'm seeing it's motivate. We are motivated automatically by what we are in the habit of being motivated by. we move in our automobile, our mobility was based on autopilot, if you will. We are moving into out of this, I'm hearing autoimmune disease, for we are recognizing that our autonomy is no longer autonomous with or analogous with that which it was that we were seeking to blend with, that which it was that we were merging with, that we were re-emerging through, from, and activating for. Okay, I'm like all over the place right now. Woo! So essentially these, what is it that we've been automatically doing? What is it in our lives that we've been on autopilot on? What is it that we have utilized before as our old vehicle for knowledge, for a well-being, for friendship, relationship, decision-making? Am I going to join this club? Am I going to be part of this establishment? What value is really behind this particular system, this particular establishment? And this then creates a massive upwelling of higher development. And we are all coming from this, I'm hearing outdated, previously developed system. It no longer holds the same weights and measures. We are measuring up. We are moving out of let's wait scenario and see. It is more of us being present, and I'm hearing clear and present danger. I think that's a movie, right? Or what book is that? Tom Clancy? So we'll roll into that a little deeper. I'm hearing danger, Will Robinson. Okay, so I have all these flows that come in, and I can pick and choose where to go. And sometimes I go into 3 different places because it's all relevant. So what I'm seeing is our ideas about space, our ideas about the space that we're in, our ideas about our immune system, our ideas and education based upon clear and present danger. Well, that's about the way that things work in our government. I'll have to look that up a little bit. I'll play with that. I think that's like a spy movie, maybe. Anyways, I think it was a good, Harrison Ford, wasn't it? But either way, I'm seeing that basically we're clear and we're present and we're recognizing the dangers of being on autopilot. Many of us are moving away from this old, I'm hearing computational system. So program, right? This way of making sense. When we compute something, we make sense of it, right? We take the information that's gathered and we then rework it, or we map it into our reality. And where we're at right now is this huge influx and merge of all these energies that is changing all of that. So we're being invited to reorganize our scattered memories and bring them back into wholeness and unification. For as we move into this space of wholeness and unification, we recharge our batteries. We no longer are charged by the same battery draining system that we once thought was, I'm hearing battery training system, that we were once trained or automatically integrated with, that it became such a norm that which was anything but seemed abnormal. I always reference movies, and Zoolander comes up a lot with the 6-minute abs. Like, no, you can't do abs in 6 minutes. You know, what does he say? Clearly it's breathe time. And anyways, so I'm just saying that there are those people who are so into that. It's difficult for them to see and feel and be in this clear and present state of awareness, so that they can recognize and danger. I'm going to just pause for a moment because I'm being guided too. All right, guys. So I felt the desire to look this up. You guys, whenever I say I'm being guided to, I just want to share, because part of the reason I started doing this channel was to show others how to tune into your intuition or get your own messages. And we're getting them all the time. We just have to listen to that nudge. So sometimes I'll hear, look it up, or I'll feel, Like you need to pause and focus on that a little bit. So we all get guidance in different ways. Sometimes we'll see it, sometimes we'll feel it kinesthetically. So getting to know how we operate is key in us opening up our operational tools, our operational toolbox. I'm hearing the whole kit and caboodle. When I say I'm hearing the whole kit and caboodle, I see it, feel it, hear it. I'm just saying I'm hearing. So it's easier to share. But it's interesting because I was saying, clear and present danger, it helps us to see that that's where we're at right now. Now, obviously I could just take it literally and look up the movie, which is pretty spicy, and I'll let you take whatever you want from that. But more importantly, the word danger. So when we say that, sometimes it creates this feeling of like, oh, well, what am I in danger? Well, we need to know not to step out in front of that vehicle, or we need to know that something may be not appropriate for our growth. And I think this is kind of what the whole message is that's coming in. And so if I look up danger, which is ironic because we're starting to see clear and present. So we're being clear, we're being present, and this clarity is presenting to us the danger. What is danger? Arrogance, insolence. I'm on etymology and all that. So danger, arrogance, insolence, power of a lord or master, jurisdiction, power to harm, mastery, authority, and control. So it's also Lord, Master, House, the power of a lord. So it's interesting because it's not what I thought it would be, which I also think is extremely symbolic. It isn't what we thought it was. We're starting to see in front of us with clarity when we are present and we open up. We're starting to say, wait a minute, my value system is this. This doesn't add up. It might have at one time, but we're not in the same time that we were then when it added up. Therefore, it may no longer be a representative that I believe in. It may no longer represent the frequency that we are all moving toward, or that we are all beginning to seek, or that we are feeling into or moving up into, expanding out into, however we look at it. So we could break that down a lot. Clear and present danger. All right. So we're feeling into our own arrogance or insolence. We're feeling where we feel powerful or powerless. We're feeling our own inner mastery, right? And our own inner authority and control, but also recognizing where others are projecting this onto us or onto the environment that we're in. And essentially we're starting to change how we feel about, and this was also wordplay, with our house, right? What did I say earlier? Our body, our temple, I say domain a lot. These are all different words to recognize. Is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to support? Is this dangerous? So the idea of dangerous has been changed in many different ways. So recognizing what true, clear, and present danger really is, and not what is being projected from an old timeline or an old value system that does not use the appropriate weights and measures. So what is a scale? That is like, I think of Libra, of course. Is it liberating, or is it weighing us down? Is it freedom, or is it weights and measures? Is our people being measured, right? Are we being measured for something that is out of balance, for reasons that are out of balance? And this brings us into recognizing what is truly has the power to harm, what is truly exercising authority and control, and us being in a space of saying, that's not where I'm headed. I could see in the rear view, that's where I might have come from. That's maybe what my old system and reality was based on. But now I'm seeing it from a completely different perspective. So I hope that that made sense. That was fun. as we let go, when we let go of the need to squeeze or to be squeezed in order to move into change, so it doesn't have to be so tight. The constrictions don't have to be so bounding. We can kind of be a little bit more free and go, wait a minute, what's really kind of the bigger picture here? Where do I feel in this now moment, in this present state, what's best for me? Where am I feeling that I need to change my diet? And you guys, I'm speaking very casually about just, I'm using the body as an example, but you can use that as fill in the blanks. Any areas in our lives where we feel this is something that's being reworked is to be aware of and to step into our own mastery, to step into this, our own authority, stepping away from being under someone else as they are the master. This also has to do, I'm recognizing, with that idea that we are not capable of handling our own well-being. That's something else that's been coming up a lot, and I'm seeing that as well. Be a huge message in general that's coming through. And when we give up our power to someone else who has that control or is authoritative, we then miss out on certain abilities or probabilities or possibilities that can add to our, I'm hearing complexity, but that's like when you drink a complex wine, it has all of these different flavors in it. It's full, it's robust. So it takes away from the robustness of life and simplifies things in such a way that it literally changes the form of that quantitative reality and approach. So I'm seeing the numbers. So if you take away, so anyways. So as we move into these new frames of reality, as we see ourselves in different frames, as we check ourselves into different complex procedures, meaning we move out of this idea that everything has to be complex or everything has to be simplified in order to see, moving more into I'm seeing kind of a lot of things. So it's like, we might have thought things had to be just black and white, or we might have been overcomplicating. It's kind of finding that middle ground, right? That we're kind of looking for. Let us blend these timelines and realities with as much grace as possible. Let us allow each other to move with their own grace, in their own grace period, so to speak. For many are adapting to these new frameworks, and I'm hearing counterintelligences. So things that we know or we feel are correct, but then something happens to counter that. I'm also seeing that can be literal. Like there's certain things that are coming out that are like, I didn't know that existed. And so it's throwing a lot of people off course. So again, many of us watching this or sharing in these energies or are here, and we're doing our best to stay on course and to help others. But there are those that are bound to these certain frequencies so intrinsically and so tightly bound that they are unable to, I'm hearing be justified. I think that's another TV show reference. Justified. Just get a drink of water. Woo. So when we talk about the word justified, they're justifying their actions based on their habits. based on the inability to access these higher realms of consciousness. So those of us that are able to access these higher realms of consciousness are assisting in the entire bandwidth. That doesn't mean that we're going to feel, again, sunshine and rainbows all the time. I'm just holding this space for a moment, breathing in and out, connecting back in with my heart. And many feel as if they are stuck right now in some form of global crisis, and they are unable to reach out to their brothers and sisters and to send word, if you will. They feel as if they are trapped in a particular reality that doesn't work for them. They feel as if they are unable to access the deeper potentials, that they are unable to make the changes that they want to see in the world. And some are feeling helpless and are continually renewed in their helplessness by what is being viewed in the way of the landscape directory. I was going to say television, but it's landscape directory. All right. So it's like when you go someplace and there's a directory, it's a map and it tells you what floor it's on. And it's like, that's all they're seeing that's available to them. And that's because that's the landscape that sometimes we're in, right? Where sometimes we feel like that. It's natural. And for these beautiful beings who are feeling all of this energetic sweep, if you will, that are feeling swept up in all of it, we are being invited to hold space for ourselves. We are being invited to let go of our entire notion of what space looks like and let go of the desire to understand what holding space needs to look like. For it is different for everyone. For in some cases, allowing ourselves to hold space means allowing ourselves to hold, to wait. Another version of this theme, maybe it allows us to hold in a space of openness and to create a boundary in which we can operate from, so we feel less activated, aggravated. So it's like I'm seeing some people just need to take space away from all that stuff, right? For some are not aware that they are projecting and opening doors for a false reality system that is merely looking to, all right, I'm seeing Poltergeist. And in Poltergeist, all these Halloween movies, right? I didn't watch it, but I don't even know if I saw a preview of it, but the beings come through the television. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. So it's kind of like these beings are coming through the television and they're trying to get our attention. They're trying to connect. And when I say they, again, fill in the blanks, stories. So what I keep being shown is this platform. It's a timeline that isn't real. So it's a false timeline. And it's telling us this is how reality works. This is where we're headed. This is inevitable. I talked about this in my previous videos. This is the only way. And that holds within it all of these geometries that are, they're not real, meaning they're just a space. So we're, again, a play on words. Let's call this a space that it's floating in, right? And it's trying to create something substantial out of something that isn't. I'm hearing substantiated. Like it can't be substantiated because it isn't real, but it looks so real. It's kind of like flavoring. Like I'm kind of hearing 31 flavors. Like it tastes like chocolate or it tastes like bubble gum, but it's a fake flavor that makes you think that it's real. And if you choose to eat it, back to what I was saying earlier, you create it. So it's like the more you believe in it, the more it becomes a habit, the more we, I've talked about this so many times before. I won't get into it, but you get where I'm going with this. This is a sense of desperation. For in this desperation, okay, Desperado. You guys, I haven't really warmed up vocally today, and hearing a tune is not necessarily my forte when it comes to singing songs that other people rate. That's why I always laugh when I start busting out with these crazy songs. I'm like, really? I'm going to go there. Yep. I'm hearing that keep going. So it's Desperado. What is it? Been on your fence for so long now. It's like I'm hearing, get off the defense. We don't have to be so defensive, right? We don't have to be on the fence about something. We can just not choose to be on the fence. We can just take a moment and go, okay, I need some space to figure this out, or to feel into it rather than figuring it out logically. So that song is relevant too, because I'm seeing you better let somebody love you before it's too late. So it's like we have to love ourselves. We have to find love for humans as a whole, the whole of humanity, because there is a gap right now, and I'm seeing a hole where there is this great divide because of people being on the other side of the fence about many different decisions right now. Fill in the blanks. What does that fence mean? Maybe your family feels one way about one thing and you feel another way about another thing. And then again, I've talked about this before, that gets subdivided into another belief, and that gets subdivided into another belief, until pretty soon it's this big gap that of nothingness. And it's like, what does this really represent? How valuable is this? Is this more valuable than my relationship with my mother, my brother, my sister? In some cases, if your mother, brother, or sister are highly polarized and in a place of complete judgment and anger, and there are some cases where it require us to take time away from that negative environment, especially if we have a family or friend that's a narcissist. Rather than feeding into that, that's a dark hole, right? That is someone who really it's almost impossible from one perspective. I think that nothing is impossible, but in those cases, in most cases, we're not going to change their mind. We're not going to change them. It is only up to us to love ourselves so much that we're then sending that out into the space around us. And that allows us to acknowledge that we disagree with them. But it doesn't take us off course by putting us into anger, blame, and hate. Because if we disagree with someone and then we choose to level that down into a denser form of hate and anger, then we are a vibrational match for them, that narcissist. If we're in a constant space of anger and hate and judgment, blame, then that creates more for the side that we don't want to create for. It's really funny how this works. Funny, not funny, more funny, peculiar. Funny, haha, funny, peculiar. Definitely funny, peculiar. So as we navigate through these peculiar times, as we recognize that each of us is navigating through our own perils right now, our own perilous waters, if you will. We also recognize that we are creating as we do this. We then allow ourselves to come back to the space of I'm hearing clairvoyant heart. That's a play on words. A voyage, voyant, buoyant, a lightheartedness. And we then somehow we find space as we do this to create compassion. This then assists us in reaching through the void of darkness, despair, judgment, blame, guilt, shame, all of those that are being stirred up right now. And it allows us to essentially hold a new pattern that gives others then the opportunity to connect into our frequency. So it's not about us trying to get our mom or our dad to change their mind or to think a certain way. But if we're holding this vibration and they don't understand how we're doing it, they're just going to feel it, and it'll create an ability to then communicate and come into new comfort levels. And I'm being reminded to remind everybody this isn't going to work with everyone. It's just not. So we end on this note, and we recognize that this is a confusing time for many, yet it is also a vibrant time for the charge that is being felt below the feet, the charge that is now creating a foothold, if you will, on the new frequencies and on new abilities of the human collective, of humanity. We then reach beyond, I'm hearing reach beyond the stars. We reach past even that which we had previously conceived was possible. And we are on the precipice of so much that the abilities and technologies that are currently available to us or that are currently being seen, I'm hearing nothing compares. It's a very musical day. Nothing compares, Sinead O'Connor. So I'm seeing this as it's like we're going to have our minds blown. A lot of times I will share a video and it is about the future. But if we can be in that space where we're not focusing on how the future should look, and we're just allowing ourselves to feel into the future rather than projecting what the future should hold for us, we can then feel how would it feel to be in a space of peace, be in a space where everybody got along, to be in a space where we had a very healthy and stable environment, not only through, disease and things like that, but also where we felt secure. What would that feel like? And that then kind of pulls us out of our projections and our judgments and our anger. And it at least puts us in a just quick frequency match. And again, it's all about consistency. So the more consistent we can hold that vibration, the more we then have that ability to see clear and present danger. And we're then able to access these other realms that are right at our fingertips. And they're more available to us now than they have been for a long time for some of us. And again, that consistency allows us to drop out of that other frequency, even if just for a moment, ideally 5 minutes, 20 minutes, and allows us to feel into other potentials. Wow, I could feel like that. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like the future that, or it feels like, and that brings it into present. That's how I'm feeling now. So did that make sense? I hope it did. All right, I'm going to end on that note, you guys. So my full moon ceremony, I'm going to be writing out the things I'd like to let go that I might feel attached to right now. I'm going to let go of my own projections. I'm going to write them all out so that I'm aware, that I acknowledge them, so that I can feel into that and integrate it if I need to. Sometimes when I write these things out, there things come up that I wasn't even aware of. And then I bless it and I burn it in the fire and send it to allow the smoke spirits to carry it. And also, I will probably be kind of writing down some of the things that, not that I'd like to project, but just things and feelings and higher sense of well-being that I'd like to draw into my awareness. And so that, for an example, can be for me is just to stay coherent, to be in a place of acceptance. All of these things that I share with you guys are things I have to work on myself. Every day is different. Every moment of every day is different. Every hour, especially right now, I'm having to tune in and check in with myself. I've had a lot of things this week, even today's Wednesday, that have thrown me off course, that have brought me into different levels of awareness or feelings. I've worked through frustrations this week. It's called human experience. So that's what I'll be working on. And I'll be sharing hopefully soon the COVID. I might do that next, or the COrVID kind of light language sharing. So in love and light, guys, namaste.